Good day everybody, and this is anfnutgaming, and today I'm going to be talking about and giving my thoughts on the game Shadowverse. I've been playing it for about 3 weeks now. I have 9 episodes up on this YouTube channel, and I wanted to give my final thoughts about this game before I moved on to something else. This is kind of like a series of talking a lot about free-to-play games and what they're like and if you should be spending time on it. And I heard about Shadowverse through a lot of people who were disgruntled in the Hearthstone community, and they wanted to try something different. And I was very interested, and I wanted to head and check it out too. So I played it for a while, like I said, 3 weeks, and I got a lot of feel for it through their arena aspect and through some of their multiplayer and ranking up system. With a card game that's so in-depth, that has a whole bunch of cards, you can't get a huge grasp of everything within 3 weeks, especially since you don't get a hold of them. And I played this through of not spending any money. I didn't play it every day, so I did put myself at a disadvantage there of not getting my daily rewards, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But I think I got a good enough grasp that I could give my ultimate comments that I wanted on this game before I could move on. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I'm talking about, and maybe you can figure out for yourself if you are pretty interested in playing this game or not. So here's your home screen, and we'll start with the pros. We'll start with the pros of this game. And the number one pro, I would say, is the daily rewards for logging in. And when you log into this game, and you can't see it right here unfortunately because I already claimed my daily rewards, but you get it builds up. So you start with 20 rupees, another day of 20, 20, 20, until you build up to, I think it's like 5 days in a row, you get a card pack ticket. And a card pack ticket, you can go into the shop. I'll go ahead and go here, and you can buy a card, buy packs, and you can buy packs 3 different ways. You can buy it with a ticket, you could buy it with rupees, and they cost 100 rupees per pack, or you can buy crystals, and crystals is their pay method to do that. You go out and you buy crystals, and use crystals to buy whatever you want in the game. So those daily rewards builds up to that card pack. It goes to another row of 30 rupees per day, up to 5 into another card pack, and then it's 40 rupees per day up into arena ticket. Now that's really cool for the arena ticket, because in the arena you get different rewards based on how well you do, and we'll talk a little bit about the arena in a little bit, but I have not got anything less than at least 1 card pack and some rupees playing through that. So at least you get 1 card pack out of that. The downside of that card pack is that it's only for their base game. Whoops. Let's go back here. I accidentally clicked on the wrong thing. And they have 2 expansions outside, the Darkness Evolved and Rise of Bahamut. Now, in any of those daily rewards, you're just getting the ticket to buy the standard card pack, which is fine because I'm assuming the standard has way more cards than anything else. It's best for people who are just starting out. That's the card packs you're probably going to want to get. Once you get a little bit higher up and gathering those cards, you can start liquefying them to create other cards that you want, and then just using the rupees to buy the other card packs. But I would say that's a huge pro of the daily rewards, is you get those by just logging in. You don't have to accomplish anything to get it. You don't have to play any special mode to get it or anything like that. You log in, you get rupees, you get card packs. Another pro is there's a great starter of resources that you get. Unfortunately, I don't remember all the stuff that you get when you first start this game, but you get a couple card packs and some rupees, and by just actually playing through the solo content, which I'll get to, is each time you get through one of the main story aspects of the solo content, you get a free arena ticket, which is really awesome. Another great thing about this game in earning rewards are their missions. We'll go over here, and we've got the regular missions are your daily, sort of daily things that you can do. Some of them to me, as someone who doesn't play all day long, can't accomplish some of these in one day, but they're kind of like your dailies. So here we got win 4 matches of Swordcraft or Runecraft, and there are 3 types of play. They're ranked, unranked, or take 2. You can't do these in the story mission, but you win 4 matches, you get their reward, 50 rupees, or you can replace it, and it will re-roll that one. And then there we go, win 1 match is Forestcraft. And then also, I didn't do this one yet, but link Shadowverse with another service. And I believe that's for when you link your desktop version to your phone, because this does come with a phone aspect to it. The achievements, so another card in another card game that will get mentioned later has some achievements, but they're not fully told about in the game. They actually give you rewards. Here, there are a ton of achievements that you can continue on and earn different rewards, whether it's rupees, whether it's flair, which is your name tag, to different animated cards. I believe there's some decks in here. Yep, a pack ticket, and then there are score rewards, which when you rank up, you get your score up higher, and each time that you hit a higher score, you get more rewards and better rewards. And so up next, I have the score 5,000. I get a take 2 ticket. That's the arena. The vials, 50 vials, and vials are what you can do to create your own cards that you want to build specifically. Emblems are just nice to look at. Here, 10,000, you get a different card pack for one of the different releases, so it's really nice. You can actually see what you can try to go after here with the achievements, score rewards, and missions. A really nice way to be able to supplement getting card packs outside of the daily rewards, and you don't have to spend any money. It's really nice. So the rewards are overall fantastic in this game. And the developers are very generous in that aspect. And for only playing for 3 weeks in the packs that I opened, I actually opened up a couple really good legendaries out of here. I was able to actually pull a pack for Bahamut, destroy all the followers, an ambulance, just come down the board and clears everything out, which is a lot of fun to do. And that's a really strong card in the meta right now, and especially in control meta. And I was able to pull him too. Very strong in the Swordcraft, kind of a finisher card that you can get. And I feel really good about grabbing those. And actually, let's just see. And this also, when you look at cards, it has a really nice format that you can look through some of this stuff. And so I am going to look up just legendary cards. And just in the 3 weeks that I played, like I said, I didn't play every day, but I was able to get 4 legendary cards through that play. May not seem like that much, but I was still competitive in the play that I did. Alright, moving on. Going past the rewards, and let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay and what are the pros about the gameplay. There's very little RNG in this game, and the RNG that's in the game does not seem to me that it would win you the game. It would give you a small advantage in a situation if it went the right way, or if it went the wrong way, it could hurt you a little bit. But it's not going to destroy you or completely throw everything into your favor. It gives you more opportunities to hone your skill and understand what the other person's going to play. If you know they're going to play an RNG card, or you think they're going to, it's not as, this is going to completely wreck me, and I can't learn anything from that. One of the other streamers I really like watching is Day9, and one thing that frustrates him a lot at Hearthstone is when he loses a game to like a discover mechanic, where someone gets to discover a card, or they get another card from the other class, and he loses to that specific card, and he asks the question, or he says, I don't know what I'm supposed to learn from that. And that is very powerful in thinking about we want to improve, and if an RNG aspect of the game is not letting us learn, it's very frustrating. It's very satisfying to win that way, but the give and take of losing it and winning it that way is very, I don't know, I think I'd rather not lose it than lose that way than win that way all the time. But this game allows you to learn because of there's less RNG, and when you learn and understand the mechanics of a lot of the classes, you can take advantage and play around things that you think that might be coming. And if you have a good sense of how to play these types of games, you can excel pretty early in this game and go up the rankings pretty quickly. Understand board control, understand trading for value, understand when you need to go for face or when to put up a ward minion that doesn't allow anything to hit your main character. When you understand that aspect stuff, you can really jump up, and even if you don't have a whole bunch of really powerful cards. And you mean when you win when you mean to. And what I mean by that is that in some of the RNG aspects of Hearthstone, it's like, well, I'm just going to throw, and if you understand, if you played that game, Yogg-Saron. So Yogg-Saron just does all these spells, and before he was nerfed, he was insane. It's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to win, so I'm just going to throw him out there and see if it comes about. But in this one, if you mean to win, you're going to do it, and you're not going to be hampered by RNG. It's like, I set this up, I'm not worried about any random mechanic, and I'm just going to go at it. You don't have to rely on the RNG unless you're trying to top deck, and that's going to happen anyway, no matter how you set up a game like that. Another advantage of this game, the gameplay, are the different classes. Now, the different classes, let me pull them up here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different classes, and they all play very differently, enough to where you feel that you have to change your mindset when playing from one to another. So for Forestcraft, it's getting a whole bunch of fairies, low-cost fairies in your hands, so you can play combos with a lot of cards that say, if X amount of cards have been played this turn, grant this type of effect, or make my next minion stronger, or something like that. So it requires a lot of setup to get to where you want to get, collecting those fairies, and use them as a resource, but don't get too many because you can only have 9 cards in your hand. Swordcraft plays a lot of low-cost minions that buff each other depending on who's in battle. If there's a commander or an officer in battle, and you put another one in battle, it might have an effect that said, if there's one already in play, I'm going to do this. So it makes the opponent think about, okay, if it's my turn to play, who do I want to take out here? The commander or just an officer. I want to kind of think about making sure they don't get a huge play off of what they have out there. Plus, but they all have different amulets that can buff each other, and they kind of play off each other. Runecraft, it has a lot of spells that you want to use, and spells make other cards in your hand stronger or cost less. You can be at a big disadvantage if you don't have any of those cards in your hand that can take advantage of those spells being played. But if you have a whole bunch in your hand and you play one spell out there, it's going to buff a whole bunch of cards in your hand, which is a lot of fun. And you can try to play out how much you want to buff a certain card. You can take a chance of there's a 10 cost card that's 7/7 stats, and each time you play a spell, it's going to take down one of those play points. So it's going to, when you play a spell, it's only going to cost 9 mana. So you could play kind of like you could take a chance there at the beginning and keep that card in your hand if you have a lot of spells, and maybe you can get that out like at turn 5 or something, at turn 5, 7/7, which could be pretty strong. Or you could chuck it and try to get something else that's going to get advantage off those spells. But it's a different aspect of playing this game. The Dragoncraft kind of works like the Ramp Druid from Hearthstone. He wants to get up past 6 play points available per turn as fast as he possibly can. And he gets what's called, I believe it's Overloaded. And if he's overloaded, his minions get certain effects granted to them and makes them stronger. So he's wanting to get to the late game as fast as possible and then can take control once he gets to that late game. The interesting aspect of that is, the less interesting fact about that, I would have to say, is once you get to that point, once you get to overloaded, you can't be brought out of it. So he's always going to be able to put minions into play that are going to be affected by it. You as an opponent can't take his play points away to where he's going to be under that. Which, I think once you get to that point, you're kind of like, I don't have to worry about that kind of aspect of the game anymore. It's always going to be procced. So it's a little less interesting to me. Shadowcraft, it's based upon gathering resources of shadows. And you gain shadows by either playing minions that grant you shadows either when they die or when they come into play or at the end of a turn. And when you use cards, so any cards that go into your graveyard, a card that's destroyed or a minion that dies or anything like that's going to give you a shadow or a resource. Anything that's banished is not going to give you that resource. So then you use those resources to trigger different effects on other cards, which is a lot of fun. You got to sometimes you really have to manage those, and if you don't get yourself in a good position by late game, you're struggling for those resources. Or it could be the complete opposite. There's an amulet in there that you can put on turn 1 that grants you a shadow at the end of each turn, and if you can snowball that with some other ones, by close to the end of the late game you have over 10. One time I didn't get any of my cards that I could use shadows, so I had like 15 to 20 or so. So they become not useful in that aspect, but they are there to be able to be used. Then they would still go down if you used it. So if I put a card in there, used 4 shadows, I would lose 4 shadows. So mid-game, you can really take advantage of those shadows, or you could be in real big trouble if you don't have those shadows. So it's a resource that you have to play with. Bloodcraft. His resource is his health. When his health gets to 10 defense or less, Vengeance will activate, as it shows right there. Now, Vengeance is one of those things, just like the Overflow. If Vengeance is on your character, your minions can gain, or different spells can gain different effects to them, and they're stronger in that aspect. So it's a give and take. Do I want to get my guy down to 10 health as quickly as possible so I can use these powerful ones, but I put myself in range of any other aggressive decks that might be out there, and which one's faster when to knock each other off. What's also very interesting is that some of his cards return his health. So you could play a game where you try to get him down to 10, maybe play a couple Vengeance cards, and if you live that turn, come into the next turn and play a lot of cards that give you health and keep you alive for a little bit longer. But this one's a very flowy kind of character that is a very big disadvantage of using your extra ability of Vengeance, where any of the other ones, there's no drawback that I've seen as big as this one. So you would think that the Vengeance cards have a more stronger effect to them than some of the other classes. Havencraft, I played this one a little bit. She uses a lot of countdown amulets, and what these do is you put them into play. They have a number of 1, 2, 3, or 4 or something, and at the beginning of each turn that number goes down, and that number goes down once it reaches 0. The amulet is destroyed and it does something. It either summons another minion, a pretty strong one usually because you're waiting a long time for it to come out on the board. Or there's some spell ones that will kill some other minions once it goes down. One of them was very frustrating. It was a minion a amulet that had a countdown of 1, and it would kill 2 random creatures on the other side of the board. So if they put that down and you had nothing on board, you really couldn't put anything on the board, and that because it would die the next turn. It was a very controlled type amulet. If you're good at planning ahead and really want to take control of that middle game, the Havencraft is a lot of fun because you can be building up a board of amulets and not have much on board, but then once that turn comes, bam, you just fill the board with a whole bunch of minions that you paid a lot less for in the past, but now you're gaining the benefits of having those. So pretty wide range of different kind of play styles that you can run into here, and it sticks with you through the whole play of the match, versus some of the stuff in Hearthstone, where I'll bring up Dragoncraft for example. In Ramp Druid, if you haven't won by the time your opponent gets close to 8, 9, 10 mana, your advantage is moot now. But in Dragoncraft, you always have that advantage because you always are proccing your overflow because you have over 6 play points. So that's why I kind of like these mechanics a little bit more than Hearthstone, is because they last longer. And I'm rambling, so let's move on. Advantage, another difference in this gameplay. Well, not a difference, but it's something that makes it unique, is the evolution mechanic in the game. Each time you go through a game, you get a certain amount of evolution points, and if you go first, you get 2 evolution points. If you go second, you get 3 evolution points. And what this does is once you reach, I think it's turn 5 or so, you can use these evolution points to evolve the character. One of the minions you have or followers on the board, or anything you put on the board, you can evolve it. And what that does is, for the majority of the part, it gives it +2/+2 to its attack and health, and gives it the ability to rush one of the other followers. It can't go to face of the other opponent until the next turn, but it allows you to take immediate board control if you need to take it. So if your other opponent has like a 5/5 on board and you have a 5/5 in hand, you can put out that 5/5, evolve it to a 7/7, hit the 5/5 in the same turn, and then now you have a 7/2 on board, and you've taken control of that board. But they can do the same to you. Now, learning when to use those evolution points is very key. It's something that you learn. The advantage of having more evolution points than the other one, your opponent, when it comes to late game, is humongous. What's also very interesting is in some of the cards, which is very cool, I would have to say, in some of the cards, not just adding attack or health, it creates another effect from the card. So as some cards, if you evolve it, it gives you a spell, or if you evolve it, it does damage to the other side of the board. If you would evolve it, it summons something else next to it. And I think this is where Shadowcraft can grow and be more, keep its interesting aspect to it, of having those really interesting evolved mechanics to a card and not just getting health and damage. And this is a really cool part about the game. And if you play this game and you understand the evolved mechanic, I think you'll really learn to like it. And we'll talk just real quick about the evolved mechanic and where it can become really interesting. Let's say you're kind of low on damage and the other opponent has 2 big creatures on board. Now this card, when it dies, which is the last words, it does an effect when it dies, it will randomly destroy one of the strongest enemy followers in play, and then restore X defense to your leader, and X equals the destroyed follower's attack. So, for example, let's say that there's a 8/8 creature and a 7/6 creature. I'm going to play really nice with numbers here. A 7/6 creature on board. If you put the Watchman in play and you evolve him to that 6/7, because right before this you were in a pretty bad shape, but you evolve him to the 6/7 and you hit that 7/6. The 7/6 is going to die because the numbers match up there for damage into health. And so is your Watchman. The Watchman's going to die too, but that Watchman's going to die and then kill that 8/8. And then at 8 health comes to your character, and which is a huge swing. And so if you can really plan those evolves around those extremely swingy turns, you can make a lot of difference in the game. Another advantage, this game does have a main story arc. Each character goes through a main story. They run into the other characters. No, they're not them, but if you go through it, you'll understand. So you kind of understand how the other aspect plays. Other characters play. And you get to learn that class a little bit more and earn rewards as you go through. So which is a lot of fun. It's a great way to start the game, and you do it for each. You can do it for each class, which allows you to learn more about those. It's very friendly for new players. The other advantage or pro of this game, very awesome graphics, nice looking graphics, animations. The cards have full art to them, which can look really nice. I'm just looking up random ones here. And also there's some animated cards that you can get that look pretty cool. Now, on to my cons. Cons. I said that weird. Cons. On to the cons of this game. So let's get angry. Urgh. Okay. Animation times during gameplay. They're way too long. They take way too long to run sometimes. And when you're really trying to think about what to do in a play, and it's coming down to close to the time where you're going to start losing time at the end of your turn, and you know what you're going to do, and you start putting those cards out there, and if you have to evolve one of them, that takes a long time. Card comes into play, you hit the evolve on it, it does its own little animation, and while it's doing the animation, everything else on the board is locked. You can't move anything, it's hard to see what you're going to do, so you definitely have to make sure you're not waiting to the last moment, and if you are, it becomes very frustrating. You can make some big mistakes at the end of there. So the animations can really throw a spike into that. And really frustrating that way. One of the pros is also a con, which is the full art cards. You don't know what it does. You look at this Underworld Watchman, who's a 7 cost for 4/5. You don't know what it does. To understand, you have to click on the card, which it does give you information about it and some really good stuff. So what's really interesting about them trying to let you understand what these cards do, let me find something that has. Okay, so here. 1 cost 1/1 and has ambush. What is ambush? It's really neat. You can actually click on ambush. You can click on those words that are bolded, and it gives you a definition of what that is, and it's really nice. But the problem is when you're playing in an actual match, you don't have. Sometimes you don't have the time to look at those, which can be frustrating. But once you learn it. And I'll say this, once you learn them, you can just go and be fine. You understand it. But if there's a card that you don't understand what just happened, and you try to pull that information up, let's say they put down this Underworld Watchman, and you have no idea what it does. So you click on the card to bring up the text information. If they end their turn while you're looking at that, the big animation of your turn comes up, and you lose that text. It's gone. You have to go back and click on it. It became really frustrating for me trying to learn about what happened, especially when the opponent does like 3 or 4 things at once, and a whole bunch of stuff happened, and you have no idea. And you're trying to click through the log, and each time you kind of click through the log, that your turn comes up and kills that. You don't know, and you have to go back into it to read all that stuff. It was kind of frustrating as a new player. Once I got a little bit more understanding of what some of the cards were, especially at the beginning, I became less and less likely that I needed to click on one of the opponent's cards to understand what it did. But as I ranked up, I started getting in touch with more different cards, as you would suspect. And some of that stuff kind of reared its ugly head again of trying to read that and being interrupted and trying to understand what just happened. Another con of this game is sometimes it can feel like a race to combo the opponent. So in this game you only get 20 health to start out with, and at the very beginning there's not a lot of too much aggro to where they're hitting you a lot. Sometimes people play, really super aggressive, but I like to play more of the control of the board aspect, so I've been able to push them off for a while. But it seems that once you get to like turn or up to like 9 play points or 10, you are just waiting for the other opponent to put down their combo piece and just kill you right there, which can be really disheartening. You try and you work out through that whole match of trying to control the board, and you feel like you're staying with your opponent or maybe have a little advantage, and they just bam, pop down some card and just hit you in the face X amount of times and you're dead. It was really frustrating and really unfortunate when you hit something like that, and you got to learn how to protect against it. And how do you protect against it? What do you do during the whole game to try to avoid something like that? Something that I didn't get extremely into, but you can probably learn should be able to learn how to counteract those things, but it's still kind of disheartening when they just punch you down from like 15 health points at the end of the game, when you feel like you had a pretty good advantage to it. And that's my style of game that I like. I don't like super aggressive decks. I like the controlling and the hard work that you would put out through a match, and that's me. And that's one of the cons that I say for this game. So when we look at any improvements that I would like to see in this game, I only really have one, and that would be the health pool of your character. I would like to see a raise from 20 health, and I think the reason they have it at 20 is that the developers like to have quicker games, and which is more exciting, and it's like, man, they can hit me any moment, what do I do to try to get them or protect me? And you really have to be on the constant guard of your health because it's so low, and so it offers those quicker games and excitement. But I think it's too quick, and you're too susceptible for big bursts of damage. So I don't know what the kind of put it up to. I wouldn't say I would want it up to 30 or something, or 25. I don't know what the number is, but I would like to see a little bit range of that, to be the range of your health to go up a little bit, or be able to put it up higher somehow, so you can play that more control game. Or at least be out of range of those turn 9 straight to face, you're dead OTKs, which to me are not fun. But you would have to make a little bit of change to the game, especially to Bloodcraft, if you were to raise the health, because I would put it really low. I don't know how you would fix Bloodcraft in an aspect. Maybe if it was 30 health, you would go down to 15 for Vengeance. I don't know how you would do that, but that's something. It's just a suggestion from me. So in conclusion to this game, so for the free-to-play, this is perfect. I got plenty of rewards from it from starting out. You get plenty of it from your missions and your achievements, and achievements, and score rewards. You get plenty of stuff from that to be able to start. It's a great flow of packs coming in to where when you're learning these types of games, I think it's better to take it slow as you understand what all the pieces do. And so when you get new cards, you can understand those little bits as you come and like, oh, maybe that card would fit better in my deck, instead of getting a whole huge deck of cards and not understanding what everything does. But the flow coming in is good enough to where you're going to increase your deck strength pretty quickly. And I don't think I would ever feel the need to go out and buy a ton of packs. Maybe it might be exciting to buy a ton of packs when a new release comes out, and I think everyone thinks that, like, oh, new pack comes out, and maybe you do it then. But I don't think I ever had the feeling that I needed to buy a whole bunch to be competitive. Like I said, I didn't play it all the time and every day to see how fast I could climb with the deck that I had, but I felt that I could climb at a steady enough pace with the cards that I had. And I don't think I would be too frustrated with not having the cards that I needed, because I had different ways to get them, either liquefying cards I would never use, creating my own, or going after those achievements and missions to be able to get more packs. Fun factor. I had a lot of fun starting out. A lot of fun learning, a lot of fun interacting with the other classes and going through the main storyline. Fun opening those packs and getting that Bahamut. That was really cool. And the challenge was exciting too, and trying to figure out how you're going to get the opponent with the different gameplay that each class brings to the game. However, the higher I got up and ranked, the more I ran into that OTK kind of instant kill decks, and that kind of sapped the fun out of it. Where in one game I'm feeling pretty confident that I can keep up with the opponent, but then instantly they would come in and kill me. And even if I felt like I was preparing myself for that insta kill by putting up warded followers or trying to heal myself up to that, I still couldn't stop that onslaught of aggression, and it was kind of disheartening where I would go from, yeah, I got this, to, oh, I died. And it was kind of sad. So 6.5 out of 10, I guess. I'm not sure. The real fun part starting out, I think if I was to continue playing this game, I would have to tweak my deck either to try to counteract some of those really aggressive ones, or just become an aggressive one. And I don't know if that's fun. I don't know. Longevity of this game. In other competition, it has some very big competition when going against games like Hearthstone. Hearthstone has way more many people, has way more notoriety because, Blizzard made it. However, there's a big distaste of the current meta in Hearthstone, and where we're seeing some people actually come over to Shadowverse to try something different, to get into a different meta. And there has been a lot of comparisons between the two of the meta and how fast it is, but I really think that Shadowverse has a more diverse sense of that, and different decks that can be successful when you're going through counter decks and try to come up with new ideas. But in Blizzard right now, it's pirate package, pirate package, pirate package, pirate package, and it's so gross. But I think Blizzard is going to make the right changes. And when they make those changes, I think these people from Shadowverse will go back to Hearthstone, because they've already spent a ton of time in there, and probably money in there too, and they've got big, huge card collections in there that they want to come back to. And that's one of the reasons why they don't want to leave either, because they have all these cards that they worked for a long time for, and they don't want to leave all that stuff they put into. So Shadowverse has a big hill to climb with a big king on top of that hill. They will not topple that king. I believe that Shadowverse will hang around. I think when people, they will swap. There will be a handful of people, like a percentage of Hearthstone, that will swap to Shadowverse whenever they get tired of the meta, or if it's really, really annoying, such as the pirate package, they will come over to Shadowverse. But once Hearthstone fixes those things, adds a new expansion, they will flock back, and you will see Shadowverse's numbers drop. So I think it will hang around for people who just completely gave away Hearthstone, or new players might be more interested in this because it is a little bit more friendly, giving packs wise to new players, and there'll be some that play both, but I think the majority definitely will stay over in Hearthstone. Shadowcraft will never become as successful, but it will hang around and it will live for a while. It'll be one of those things in the back of people's minds, oh, maybe I'll go play this, but then they may not ever do that. So it was fun. I have to say that I had a lot of fun playing it for the time that I did. Would I continue playing it? I think I would. I think I would end up playing it, and I would be in that boat of when Hearthstone fixes some of the aggressive stuff that they have going on, I will go back to Hearthstone. And is that a good thing? I mean, I have a lot of fun in Hearthstone, and so it doesn't matter if it's a good thing, it's what you like to play, obviously. So give Shadowverse a try if you want. I think it's good to get into it for a free-to-play game. Excellent content for what is a free-to-play game, and you never feel like you have to put a whole bunch of money into it. So I'm going to give it thumbs up, and hope you guys try it, and let me know what you think overall about it. So thank you for watching. This was anfnutgaming. I'm Ryan Tucker. Stay classy.